Thank you, and welcome to the next episode of Admitted. Today we're joined by two guests.
Hi, my name is Jasmyn. I will be attending Washington Lee University in the fall.
Hi, my name is Jenney, and I'll be attending Yale University.
A little context about my essay. Typically the personal statements are shorter, 650 words. But because I was a finalist for the Questbridge Math Scholarship, I applied to most, if not all of my school is using my Questbridge personal statement, which is 800 words. Okay. The bright lights of New York City blew out my spark. Guyana was far from glamorous, but still, it was home. And home for me could only ever be one place. Nothing amounted to the Diwali floats glowing at night, the colors of Mashramani painting the streets, or the knee-high waters we trudged through to get to school on a rainy day. My sister and I used to lay on the grass at night, gazing up at the sky, trying to count the endless stars, our eyes as bright as the night above. Well, the endless possibilities that the stars represented were now replaced by New York's black night, reminiscent of the void that swallowed my sense of belonging. The Olympic-sized pool I used to swim at was now reduced to the local YMCA. The cost of competing on a team was now too high. The U I wrote in color made me a constant victim of spelling tests, and my relatives would ask me to speak just to laugh at my heavy accent like I was some kind of party trick. The morning after we arrived, 9-year-old me found herself in the counselor's office of my new school. I sat nervously, fighting the urge to spin my chair and pick at my nails, but ready to answer anything she asked. "What interests you?" she said, trying to enroll me in an elective course. In Guyana, our education couldn't extend beyond 4 core subjects. We hardly afforded textbooks with intact spines. So I panicked. How could I answer this when I'd never explored any of these before? I felt so small, standing before this wall of opportunities I never had. Before moving, my dad taught me things like reconnecting the Wi-Fi router and changing a light bulb. Now, living without him, I knew I'd have become the man in the family. So sitting in that office, I chose a robotics class, hoping to learn more practical skills to step into that role. There, I was introduced to Python. Learning to code wasn't just a new skill, it was the first instance where I felt connected with my peers. We were all learning this new language together, and for once, it felt like I was on equal ground. This sense of hope pushed me to dive deeper into my skills. I wasn't just learning for the sake of making it through the course, but with the ultimate goal of finding my place here. Starting high school, I feared being drowned out again in the sea of unfamiliar faces, but this time, things were different. This time, I had the programming world standing behind me. Coding continued to connect me with others who didn't necessarily look like me. It pushed me to join the Steelhawks and find a second family with those who spoke this universal language. The intricate lines of codes, the click of gears, and the hum of motors became a language only we spoke. Through hours spent in front of CNC machines waiting for a cut to finish, staring at code until that aha moment clicked, and sleepless nights during competitions, I realized that home didn't have to be one place. It was a community built around a shared passion, common goals, and love. It was through the confidence working with the team gave me that I realized my Guyanese heritage, which I once viewed as a curse, could also be a bridge connecting me to others. Instead of shying away from the question, "Where are you from?" I started to embrace my culture, declaring, "I'm from Guyana." Surprisingly, I was met with comforting sounds of "That's so cool," or "I'm from Berbice, what about you?" Taking pride in my roots gave me a sense of relief as I navigated high school. Though it felt risky to put myself out there, the unexpected positive responses grounded me. But the lessons I learned growing up with the Steelhawks became the blueprint to pilot something even bigger. Project Home. I wanted to extend the opportunity that had been given to me to others whose backgrounds were similar to mine. Through this project, I started 2 fully funded first LEGO robotics teams in Guyana, watching the kids light up, from the mere amazement of them using my Apple Pencil, to seeing their robots come to life. I see myself reflected in them. Their curiosity knows no bounds, and their eyes glimmer with a hope in a way that brings you so much joy, yet breaks your heart into a million pieces. Striving to bridge the gap between privilege and potential, I offer Guyanese youth the chance to embrace their roots while also igniting that spark of inspiration and teaching them to reach for the stars. Yeah. Thank you.
Can you run us through how you thought of the idea and approach to writing the essay?
Yeah. So I think I knew before, when I started working on my college essay in AP Lang, that I definitely did want to talk about my Guyanese roots, because I feel like growing up there, it's such an atypical childhood to have, and it's also something that really has kind of shaped a lot of my passions, a lot of the extracurriculars I do, and why I kind of do the things that I do. So I definitely knew that I wanted that to be the focus of my essay. A lot of things, like the one thing that every person that read any of my essay said was to do show not tell. And the best way to always do that is by having like an anecdote. In that way, you're not just like telling your admissions officer like this is what I do, but you're kind of showing them like this is why I am the way I am. In terms of the reflection thing, STEM has, if it wasn't for like moving to New York and being placed in that class, I definitely would be on like a different track for my life. STEM and engineering and robotics has definitely been like a really big role in like why like I want to do what I do and where I see my career taking. So I feel like just highlighting different parts of that in my personal essay was kind of the angle I was going for, like kind of starting like where it started and what it turned into and kind of like what impact I was able to have because of the experience I had growing up. Yeah.
Also in your essay, I've noticed like in the beginning parts you said reminiscing of like home and a lot of references to that, and then at the end you said this is what I call home, the second home. Did you do that? Like, what planning went into that, I guess? Yeah, so I'm a really big fan of the essays that kind of like introduce something in the beginning and then like they kind of like tied back at the end. So like this theme of home, I think like a lot of immigrant children can like relate to. So I kind of just started with Guyana for me had always been home. So then moving here, it was like that sense of home was kind of like taking from me. In the latter half of the essay, I mentioned piloting Project Home, which stands for Helping Other Minorities Excel, which is listed in as one of my extracurriculars. So that's kind of why like I named like that project where I started 2 Lego teams in Guyana Home. But yes, I think that definitely was also something I wanted them to get out of my essay. It was kind of just that like growth of like finding my home and realizing that home is kind of what you make it, and it's not necessarily like where you come from.
No, I really like the little details you added in there about where was it? This part was very specific when you used to introduce home, and then the wording just felt very like so relatable, but at the same time so elegant.
Thank you.
I really like. I forgot the moment, but there was something that really was so cool.
I think for me, like I've been working on this essay since AP Lang, and it was like it's the same topic. So I think that I guess like just kind of looking at it so much, I was able to kind of like certain things I got really tired of, and I just like really kind of had this.
Oh, I remember
like,
the
perfecting
line now.
it.
The privilege potential line at the end. I thought was really cool.
Yeah, so that actually stems from so this past summer I did a program at Microsoft where like we built an app, and the app was called Equal Footing, and like kind of the slogan that we came up with was bridging the gap between privilege and potential. So it was an app dedicated to providing opportunities and showcasing opportunities for like underrepresented communities. Like it was programmed in different languages for different speaking households. So yeah, that's kind of where that come from. But yeah, I really do like
really
it.
Cool. I really
Thank
love
you.
play on words.
Thank you.
But before we go on to today's video, I want to thank today's sponsor, Kweller Prep. Kweller Prep is an award-winning educational program that helps students across their educational journey, from the SHSAT in middle school to the SAT in high school and beyond. Kweller Prep also offers in-person and online classes with a maximum of 10 students per class to offer more on one-to-one and personal experience. Kweller Prep also offers college admissions advice that can help navigate you through the rather complicated college application process. To learn more about Kweller Prep, click the link in the description or go to kwellerprep.com to learn more about it.
During my arm cast removal appointment, I was worried that the saw would penetrate my skin. Noticing my concern, the doctor pressed the blade onto her hand and reassured me that the saw was harmless. She explained that the blades vibrate on our delicate skin, but cut through the hard cast due to its resistance. Since then, I've been fascinated by biomedical engineering, specifically the intersection between human physiology and machine technology. Amazed by how artificial materials synergize with tissues to revolutionize healthcare. I searched for its applications everywhere, from hearing aids to vaccine needles to even the stent device that helps me manage my congenital heart defect. While researching the effectiveness of transarterial chemoembolization techniques at the Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center, I explored the extent to which medical technology adapts to treat specific patient conditions. Researchers were pushing boundaries and constantly attempting to optimize drug delivery and catheterization treatments, even with already effective options. By utilizing multidisciplinary approaches, they were able to innovate new techniques and provide patients with a greater chance of recovery. I realized that I also wanted to be part of this effort to help advance patient care and improve quality of life, a core tenet of biomedical engineering. So I used this supplement for a lot of my other schools that are like, why this major, why this field of study. So I sort of like edited it with word count and carried it over. So I knew I was gonna apply it as sort of like with biomedical engineering as the focus of my application, and I was thinking about what specific anecdote or memory I would use to sort of showcase that intersection between, you know, our bodies and artificial machine technology. And I remembered sort of like breaking my arm and then having to get my cast removed. And I feel like it's such a common occurrence, but I don't think a lot of people sort of understand or actually realize sort of the wonders of the technology and the engineering behind it. And I just think it's really cool. So I was like, let me use that to make such like a common occurrence, because there are a lot of people who break their arms and get their cast removed every year, every week, every day. And it was just like, when I saw that happen, I was really, really curious as to how that's possible, because how could something so sharp cut through something so hard but not something soft? So I think that really, really sparked my interest, and it in itself was a very like strong, it had a very strong holding of memory to me. So it was just something that sort of popped out to me when I heard this prompt.
Did the idea like come to you really quickly, or did you have to like go through different experiences in your life to perfectly capture what could be written?
I think that specifically for biomedical engineering, I only had like 1 to 3 choices or like anecdotes to use, and then I just felt like this one was the quickest to sort of state, summarize, and wrap up, and then go straight into reflecting, because some of the other ones needed a lot more context, or had you had to explain it, like the technicalities a lot more. But something as simple as like a cast saw like has such advanced engineering behind it, I think that was very quick to end strikes, and it's very interesting because I guess a lot of people, like even my interviewers, when I told them about them, they were like, oh my god, I've like met so many people who broke their arms, but I feel like I've never heard about sort of like the engineering behind like a cast saw blade.
How did like the writing process for this essay and like small essays like supplementals compare to writing your personal statement, or how did it differ from other essays?
So this essay, I mean, it's sort of your selling point, because colleges are sort of not looking for too many people of the same interests. They want to have a diverse class. So either if you're gonna apply with something or some like career or major as your focus, you have to be really, really good at it for them to choose you to sort of like represent that major or field of study at their school. So I think for this one, I knew I had to make it very special. I knew I had to make it reflective, but at the same time show like I know what I'm talking about. I have experience with this. But I think the biggest selling point for this one was that the anecdote is something so common, but then I sort of like expand it into something that opens up my eyes or opens up my world to this world of biomedical engineering. And when I was writing it, I knew like the structure for me, I knew I wanted to be sort of like the anecdote, the science behind whatever technology I was talking behind, and then tied into like what that led to, like my experience researching transarterial chemoembolization, and then from that sort of like broaden it in general to show that I'm still keeping my options open and I still want to explore more. Well, this, I feel like it was reflective, but in the end, I feel like it sort of pushes you to look further, look beyond where you are right now. Besides, like, what have you done? What can you do in the future? Do you see yourself sort of like having this field of study in the future? Because you really have to believe it in order to write it well. And compared to a lot of the other supplements, which are tell me more about like your daily experiences or sort of like your childhood, your growing up, This one, which are more reflective. This one was definitely, you have to look more into the future.
And like as a clarification, what field do you plan to study at Yale?
Currently, I'm wavering between biomed engineering and economics or data science.
And how about you, Jasmyn?
I'll be studying engineering and computer science and minoring in business. Yeah.
Okay.
I really like your sub because it shows like a genuine passion
Thank you.
for like what you're interested in. And I think that's something like a lot of people struggle with when writing their like why major, because it's like I feel like at 16, 17, like a lot of people don't really know why they want to do what they do. But I feel like you not only show like why you want to do what you do, you also show like what efforts you've made to kind of pursue that passion for you and curiosity like for yourself, which I think that second step is a lot of like a big thing that colleges look for, but a lot of people don't really take that initiative to. So I feel like when admission officers are seeing like people like Jenney that are like taking that step to kind of use the resources they have to investigate these questions that they're curious about or the things they're passionate about, it really just makes them such a more desirable candidate for their school because it shows how they take advantage of, you know, the opportunities that the school has. So I think, yeah.